So it's about 2 hours before our departure time for Board Game Geek Con here in Dallas, Texas. We've been up for approximately 24 hours now, getting ready for the show, and the minions have sat down on the couch and in my spare bedroom trying to catch a couple hours shut-eye. So I figured it was the perfect time to give you guys a once-over of our shop/studio where we make dice, since it is completely and totally quiet, nothing's running, and I'm not going to bed because I won't get up if I do. So here we go. I'm going to show you guys basically a quick rundown over all the machines, what we use them for, what all our Kickstarter fundage went for. Without further ado, let's get on to looking at machines, because that's way... Alright, so first up is our B9 Creator. It's a little dusty, but that's because it's in a really dusty environment. Our B9 Creator is basically a 3D printer, but it's not like your typical MakerBot or Cupcake CNC. It is a photo-activated resin polymer thing. It's basically, instead of being what amounts to a glorified hot glue gun on a servo motor, on a stepper motor, it is a much higher resolution photo printer that prints a micron or two thick layer, raises up a little bit, prints another micron or two thick layer, raises up, prints another, raises up, prints, raises up, prints, raises up, prints, raises up, prints. And it does it using UV light and a photoreactive resin. So this gets a much, much higher resolution. What this allows us to do is actually make a completed part that we can then, because of the resins that we use on it, make a mold from. We'll be using that in future Kickstarters to make really cool dice that we couldn't machine, but that we can actually cast. So look for that in an upcoming Kickstarter. This is the Trotech Speedy 300 Flex laser. This is by far and away the most expensive tool in the shop. We spent a ton of money here for a reason. During our first Kickstarter, I came to the conclusion that we basically run a very complex laser engraving business. Everything we do ends up running through the laser engraver at some point in time. The decision to get to Trotech was basically in two parts. One, it's way faster than anything else on the market. The stepper motors in here accelerate blisteringly quick, which allows us to run our 1,000 dice runs that we do in 2 days as opposed to 2 weeks. The other part was the dual laser source in the Flex lasers. So we have not only a CO2 laser, we also have a fiber laser. Both of them are not the bulb, the bulb type. They're the solid, I guess, the solid state laser type. So they're a lot more powerful and they last a lot longer. With the Trotech system, we can switch on the fly. I don't need access to the back of the machine to swap lasers. Both sources are integral into the machine. So in the same run, we can do both metal and wooden dice, which greatly simplifies things for us. This is a wonderful piece of equipment, and since our entire business revolves around it, I wanted to make sure we got the best. So here we have our Banshee. This is the loudest machine in the entire shop. It's actually a legacy CNC mini Arty is the actual model that we have. It is a 4th axis CNC router, which we've had outfitted with a water-cooled spindle capable of spinning 24,000 RPM. It's a gantry system that gives us a large work surface, and this typically comes with MDF base plates, but for our purposes they're not anywhere near accurate enough. So we've retrofitted this machine with aluminum base plates that have been drilled and tapped 1/4-20 every ½ inch. So that gives us a really good solid surface to mount things like our vacuum fixture from Pearson Work Holding, which also had to be modified to allow for greater CFM airflow for the vacuum system. So Pearson uses a 1/8 inch diameter tap over here for the vacuum supply, which we found out through trial and error isn't anywhere near large enough. So we've basically drilled a hole in the bottom plenum down here and fed it with a 3/8 line, which gives us plenty of vacuum to hold our boxes down. This particular plate is set up for doing our scribe boxes, so this would get you a polyhedral set and a pen and pencil set in the same box. This plate does 3 boxes at a time, and our other plates are, we have plates for basically each type of box we make. We have plates that we swap in and out. This machine has been quite cantankerous to get set up, but now that it is set up and running correctly, it works like a charm. We'll be upgrading to a larger version of the Arty, or actually we go into the full Arty when our new shop, we have room to fit the whole thing. Alright, what we have here is our 14 SUV from Laguna. This is one bad bandsaw. The SUV stands for souped up version. I am not making that up. Basically, this is the 14-inch bandsaw that has all the bells and whistles. We run a Resaw King blade on here, which is a 1-inch thick blade with gigantic carbide tipped teeth. This thing makes a laser straight cut with a very smooth finish. We use this to do all of our resaw work for sawing up burls and things like that. Basically anything that's big and beefy and needs to be cut up, this machine does it. Alright, what you see here is Jenkins. He is one of our 3 Taigs that we run. Taig makes a wonderful desktop CNC milling machine. They're really targeted at the hobbyist users. They're not intended to be production machines. With that said, for what we do, they are perfect. So we have employed the use of 3 of them. We've got Goose on the end, and then Leroy and Jenkins. We've been running Goose basically non-stop for coming up on 1.5 years now. Still going strong. Leroy and Jenkins are both good machines. Taigs are made right here in the U.S., so that's a big bonus. These are 10,000 RPM spindles, and we run these pretty much non-stop. Jenkins is set up mainly as a robotic drill press. We use this machine to drill all the pips on our dice because we got away from doing them by hand on the drill press because we got a lot of complaints after when we started getting on more web orders. We got a lot of complaints about the pips not being exactly perfect because a lot of folks missed the thing where these were handcrafted. So the use of Jenkins to drill all of our pips has made it so that they're very, very precise. The Leroy and Goose are set up to do lots and lots of these. These are the candlestick shape that we make all of our dice, all of our polyhedral dice blanks into. So that's what these guys do day in and day out, is make lots and lots and lots of these. Alright, what we have here is basically the heart of the shop, heart of any woodworking shop really. That is our table saw. What we have is a 1.5 horsepower saw stop cabinet grade saw, to which we have added a benchtop router wing with a Jessom router lift and a Porter cable 2 3/4 inch router, or 2 3/4 horsepower router. Our router fence of choice is a ready to route CNC router fence. This makes prototyping and doing box blanks or doing custom box work much easier to lay out. We can program in all of the measurements for our cuts, and they're extremely repeatable, extremely precise, and allows us to actually fine tune our cuts down to thousandths of an inch, which is exactly what we're looking for with our box dovetails. To that, we have added the Incra Wonder Fence, which allows us to use our router as everything from a mini joiner to doing with these high precision stops. We can turn this into a slot mortise machine. We can also do all kinds of really cool box joinery work with this. Extremely good fence. These guys are right here in Dallas, Texas, and they make wonderful woodworking products. Another thing that we've added to the table from Incra is we've replaced the saw stop miter gauge with an Incra 1000 HD. This is probably the most accurate miter gauge on the market. It goes down to basically tenths of a degree in accuracy. So really cool stuff. We also have added a Wixie digital gauge to measure the height of our router bits, and we've also got one down here to measure our table saw fence, so we can get really accurate cuts for doing things like dice. So we make our D6s on this table as well. So we get everything. We basically have machinist accuracy, down to thousandths of an inch, in a woodworking setup, which you don't commonly see. Most woodworkers are okay with something as long as it's okay within like a 30 seconds of an inch, and that's just not close enough for us. So One thing that SoftStop is famous for is its blade brake setup. And I'll try to link a video to that, but basically it's a safety system. If you stick your hand in the saw blade, it comes to a screeching halt, and it doesn't even leave a mark. This has already saved Fluffy Minion's thumb. It's a wonderful system. It's expensive to run. If the brake discharges, you're out $200, but it's a hell of a lot better than replacing a finger. Alright, so what you guys see here is our jet drill press. This is a variable speed. It means we can speed up and slow down and turn the handle. Really cool setup. It's also got LED lights and a laser on it, as well as a table that has a slide-out roller bar for doing work with long stock, and T-track slots that fit all of our half-inch gear for our big CNC machines, which means we can bolt fixtures like pin vices to it. This is where we drill all of the blanks you guys see for our scribes before we put in the pin tubes. What you also see here is disc sanders. These are really cheap Ryobi disc sanders. I found these things work wonderfully for polishing dice. We run 3 of these, and we start out sanding on here with 400 grit and proceed up from there to up to 2000 grit, depending on the dice or the type of wood that we're working with. Alright, this is our Jet 16 to 32 inch thickness sander. This can do a 16-inch wide board, or it can do a 32-inch wide board in a double pass. So basically feed it through once, turn 180, feed it through the other way. Alright, the way these work is we have a drum here that is wrapped with sandpaper. Okay? This spins. We have an automatic feed system that will feed our lumber through here. And when it comes out the other end, it is hopefully the exact size you need it. That means we can use it to cut all of our laser cutter lumber like this. So this was a burl slab that we slabbed into many pieces to make the boxes for our burl collector sets. We use this a lot also to make sure that our box lids fit exactly right. This is a very useful piece of equipment to have. Alright, so not only do Italians make really fast cars, they also make really good saws. This is our Dake Cold Saw. It's made in Italy, and it is probably the best cold saw on the market. A cold saw is used to cut metal. It has a very sharp carbide tooth blade in here. When it spins, it is lubricated with a coolant, which gives us a very precise cut because it doesn't heat the metal up and cause it to expand. It also doesn't shower my shop with sparks. It produces a chip that is very easy to clean up and just falls down in this catch basin. So this is Behemoth. It's our CNC 1100. It is the larger of our 2 Tormach mills. And just like our 770, we have every option on this machine. And to that we've added our full enclosure. And we've also added our TOSA tooling modular plate system. The larger envelope gives us a couple of things. It allows us to use our ATC so we can have multiple bits for milling our harder metals like tungsten, nickel, and titanium, where that becomes important. It also allows us to do our specialty projects like milling those aluminum base plates you guys saw over on the Legacy. We made those right here on this mill, something we could not have done on the 770 because of the lack of envelope. I can't say enough about Tormach's guys. Tormach is a wonderful company. They're based right here in the U.S. They make a wonderful entry-level mill. The 1100 I think starts out at $8,000, so I highly recommend them. That's pretty much it for our shop, guys. So that's basically, I guess we'll call it the nickel tour. In upcoming videos, you guys are going to see a little more in depth of how we use these machines. We'll kind of highlight a specific machine and a specific project that we do with it. I think the next video you guys will be seeing is the making of icing drape, which is our Damascus set that we made that we were making for the Kickstarter. So that'll be the next video you guys see, and we'll do that right here on our 1100. And we'll see you then. For now, we're going to be leaving for BGG Con in about 30 minutes, so it's time to go wake the minions up.